I would like to know how to believe in the divine, even though it is a loose end. I know without some sort of grounding, any hope about a positive future falls down. Could you please tell us how your conception of God has changed in the last year or two? And has your wife's burgeoning faith had an impact on this conception? I was rather taken aback when you said in your return home video posted 5 months ago that with the grace and mercy of God, you might be able to generate original material once again. Why do you think there are so many people who are prone to just following an ideology seemingly blindly today, especially in America and maybe especially among younger people? Why do people seem to cling to what a doctor, an organization, or a political stance, or what a news network or source says seemingly religiously? I'm not talking about religion specifically, I don't think, but maybe what I seem to see as replacements for faith or a good family / meaningful life, etc. Having listened to you for many years now and as minor clergy in the Orthodox Church, my questions are, have you attended any services in the Eastern Orthodox churches, or have you done an in-depth exploration of Eastern Orthodox Christianity? How do you respond to the idea that your personal theology aligns so well with what is taught by the Eastern Orthodox churches? Well, I'm going to try to answer all those questions at the same time. Let's start with the third set. Why do you think there are so many people who are prone to just following an ideology seemingly blindly today, especially in America, and maybe especially among younger people? Why do people cling to what a doctor, etc., says seemingly religiously? Well, I would say that something has to be done with the religious impulse. So, and we could think about what the religious impulse is critically and deeply for a minute. So imagine that you might consider defining the religious impulse as the consequence of the necessity of having a goal at the highest possible level of conceptualization and organization, psychological organization, social organization. We have goals on a daily basis and a weekly basis and a monthly basis, and personal goals and familial goals and social goals, but all of that has to be nested in the broader world of value. Let's say all of that has to be nested within something like, well, what is the ultimate goal? What is the final goal underneath which all of those more proximal goals are subsumed? And that becomes a religious question. I would say by definition, it's an impossible question to answer in some sense, because to provide a definitive answer would mean that we would have to possess the classic attributes of God, at least his omniscience, to be able to finally answer, well, what is it all for? But we're still stuck with the necessity of identifying the highest level goal. And that's really that the identification of that goal was exactly what our traditional religious structures were attempting to do, for better or worse. And they did that with practice and with ritual and with drama and with symbolism and with music and with art and with literature, with dance, all of which are integrated in more archaic communities, let's say. Those were all our attempts to orient ourselves at the highest possible level of being. Perhaps we're all striving to be, at least in our more noble moments, we're trying to be good people ethically and to serve the good, whatever that might be. And it's the religious domain that strives to answer those questions at the highest possible level of abstraction. Now, if you lack that answer, if you're divorced from a religious structure, then you have to find a replacement somewhere, because the question isn't going to go away. The question, what's it all for? What should I orient myself toward? Or what should I imitate? Or what should I be in awe of? You're stuck with that. Or even in its negative sense, well, what's the purpose of life anyways? And why bother? And So that can lead you into a very destructive nihilism. And so you're stuck with the problem. And if your culture hasn't provided you with a solution, or you've rejected that solution, or the solution no longer seems tenable to you, maybe because it's fallen prey to a rationalist critique, that doesn't mean the problem goes away. You find a replacement for it, and for better or for worse. Now, the first of the set of questions I grouped together, we'll turn to it, was, I would like to know how to believe in the divine, even though it's a loose end. Well,